the chemical revolution that built Europe. This is the story of how one man's chemical empire shaped the architecture of Europe, sitting at the crossroad of industry, art and science. In this video, we tell this story by visiting the most important sites to build the full picture of the chemical revolution. So let's begin this story. The 19th century saw cities explode in size. As capitalism replaced feudalism, people moved from the countryside into urban centres like Brussels to work in new factories. This wasn't just growth, it was a change for society. We begin our journey by visiting where the Industrial Revolution began, the Brussels Canal. We are at the canal in Brussels. This was the heart of the Industrial Revolution, and it was the supply of water and energy for the factories.
Yeah, so this is where Brussels began. So of course it was a settled village around a river. It was built up when the Romans arrived. Of course, during the Industrial Revolution, ships would have carried all sorts of resources through here, and so all around us would have been the industrial buildings.
The Industrial Revolution started as the production of textiles and metallurgy. That then developed into chemical processes that we know today. And at the centre of this, in Brussels, was Ernest Solvay, a self-taught industrialist. He was the future of chemistry. He took an existing but undeveloped process, what would become the Solvay process, and turned it into an industrial engine. His factories produced soda ash at massive scale, selling it to industries that made glass, soap, textiles and paper. It was cheaper and less polluting than the previous Leblanc method, which dumped hydrochloric acid into the air and calcium sulfide into rivers. Previously was produced with the Leblanc process, but he was able to find a new way to create something that was used in so many different household and factory processes. I was interested to learn more about this process, one which we still use in our world today. Henry explains how it works here.
The Solvay process, it takes salt water, NaCl, and you bubble through it carbon dioxide and ammonia. That then produces sodium bicarbonate, and you then actually heat that up to make sodium carbonate. So the sodium bicarbonate is an intermediary, and the sodium carbonate is the end result. And since it was an intermediary, it was not the original intent.
So let's break the Solvay process down even further by looking at the chemical equation. We have our reactants, which are our starting materials, sodium chloride and calcium carbonate. This produces sodium carbonate or soda ash and calcium chloride like road salt. Of course, the equation has to be balanced. So we have the same number of reactants and products. And with that, we have our Solvay process. Solvay found his market. His factories spread across Europe, building a chemical monopoly and an immense fortune. While a progressive employer for his time, offering benefits like housing and pensions, his workers still faced long hours and harsh conditions. With his wealth secured, Solvay turned to architecture. In 1895, he commissioned a young Victor Horta to design a home for his son. He gave Horta total creative freedom and an unlimited budget. The result was the Hotel Solvay, a landmark of Art Nouveau design. Here we are outside Hotel Solvay. Horta rejected straight lines and factory-made parts. Instead, he created a unified work of art, flowing organic forms, curved iron staircases, and custom-designed everything. It was a rebellion against the industrial aesthetic of the past. This really was the defining moment in Horta's career. This set him up. This was possibly one of his most ambitious projects. This is not the only Horta architecture. Just a few streets down are some of Horta's other works of art, including Hotel Tassel. The Art Nouveau design revolution was born thanks to the chemical revolution that funded it. Here we're outside Hotel Tassel, which was one of Victor Horta's main pieces of architecture, and it ignited the Art Nouveau revolution in Brussels. The ideas of the Art Nouveau movement began to spread, with other architects and designers putting their own spin on the style. This is Maison Hanon, just a few streets down, and was commissioned by one of Solvay's senior engineers. It wasn't just architecture that Solvay was funding. Later, Solvay positioned himself at the forefront of science. In 1911, he funded the first Solvay conference, gathering the world's greatest physicists like Einstein, Curie and Planck to debate the new quantum theory. This image shows the greatest scientists on Earth meeting at the Solvay conference. But can you spot somebody who has photoshopped himself into it? Let me know in the comments if you can spot it. He couldn't contribute to the science, but he understood the power of funding its discovery. And we were lucky enough to visit exactly where the first Solvay conference happened with the greatest scientists on the planet.
We're here outside the Metropole Hotel where the first Solvay conference took place. Einstein would have been here, Marie Curie, it was a who's who of physics. Now this hotel has seen better days, but that's okay because we're bringing physics back to what it was.
We have our ideas for the coming revolution. Comment down below if you want to know how to prepare for it. But let's focus our attention back to the first Solvay conference.
The quantum physics revolution. There was a crisis emerging in physics. Our classical theories of matter, our billiard ball universe, was suddenly being overthrown. Physicists were making their name as they shattered our classical understanding of matter. Suddenly, new concepts were introduced which showed that matter was not simply billiard balls, but actually it was quantized. Quantized in a new way. Planck would show that the visible spectrum of black body radiation had a minimum cutoff threshold. Einstein's photoelectric effect showed us that electrons themselves behave both like particles and waves. And he would end this conference by sharing his disappointment in the whole thing. Einstein believed that our universe was based on billiard balls, small atoms, and yet quantum mechanics was defying all our classical notions. This quantum revolution would go on till this day.
Scientific innovation fuels architectural revolution. We cannot understand the design of our world without understanding the science that made it possible. What other scientific revolutions should we cover? Let us know in the comments. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you very soon.